Hey kids, it's Mr. D. It's finally almost Halloween. We're going to have our Halloween celebration later. And right now I'm looking like a pumpkin head. Woo. All right. Well, that's enough of that. So that was one of my little Halloween things that I have around the classroom. So today I'm going to read one of my all-time favorite Halloween stories ever. It's called Scaredy Cat Splat. And it has Splat the Cat in here. And it's really funny. And I thought I would read it for you. I got it out of the library this morning here at school. There he is, Scaredy Cat Splat. Yeah. This is just a fun Halloween story for you to listen to. All right, let me slide my camera over a little bit. And here we go. Mom, cried Splat, there's a scary spider on my jack-o'-lantern. He's small and hairy with really funny eyes. Splat's voice wobbled with worry. But you're small and hairy with really funny eyes, said his mom. Splat thought for a moment. But I haven't got 8 legs. If you had, maybe you'd be a scary spider too, teased his mom. Splat made a scary spider face. That doesn't look very scary. Splat's mom caught the spider under a glass jar. Splat looked closely at the spider. It didn't look so scary now that it was trapped. Aw, he looks kind of sad. Can I take the spider to school for Halloween? Asked Splat. We've all made jack-o'-lanterns and everyone is dressing up in costumes and Miss Wimply Dimple is going to tell a ghost story and there's a prize for the scariest cat and I want to be the scariest cat. So can I take the spider to school, please? He added without taking a breath. Okay, said his mom. Where's your Halloween costume? Said his mom. Splat pulled a broom from the closet and sat on it. Ah, look at me, I'm a scary witch's cat, cried Splat, racing around the kitchen. You certainly are scary, said his mom. Then disaster struck. Splat tripped over his tail, and with a crack, the broom's handle snapped in two. His scary witch's cat costume was ruined. Now I've got nothing to wear. Even Seymour couldn't console him. That's his little mouse friend. Splat's mom had an idea. She stuffed some old socks with scrumpled up newspaper and tied them to Splat with string. There, she said. Splat looked in the mirror and jumped back with a squeal. Ooh, I scared myself, he said. He looked again, and this time he smiled. Look at me, I'm a big scary sock spider. Woo! Splat placed his jack-o'-lantern and spider on his wagon, and he set off to school. On the way, he met Spike dressed up as a mummy and Plank dressed up as a skeleton. They're pretty scary, said Splat. Seymour nodded his head and trembled a little bit. I don't think Splat's very scary. Those guys look a little bit more scary. But I'm scarier, said Splat. Splat made his scariest spider face and growled. Grrr. Grrr. Spike and Plank didn't even blink. Instead, boo! Cried Spike. Boo! Cried Plank. Splat yelped and jumped high in the air and landed in a heap. Ah, Spike and Plank are both scarier than me. Seymour nodded and trembled a little bit more. I'll never win the prize for the scariest cat, complained Splat. The sock spider, the skeleton, and the mummy continued on their way to school. Look, they all have their own pumpkins. They carve them like jack-o'-lanterns. There's a sign that says, Cat School. In class, everyone showed their jack-o'-lanterns. Splat's jack-o'-lantern made everyone laugh. Ah, I'll never win the prize for the scariest cat. Seymour just shook his head. Look, they're all laughing at his pumpkin. Everyone placed flashlights in their jack-o'-lanterns, and Mrs. Wimpy Dimple turned down the lights and whispered in her best ghost story voice. In the dark, dark woods, there's a dark, dark house. In the dark, dark house, there's a dark, dark room. In the dark, dark room, there's a dark, dark box. And in the dark, dark box, there's a ghost! Mrs. Wimpy Dimple cried. The class jumped with fright. Splat was so startled his tail whipped around and sent his jack-o'-lantern spinning through the air. And what goes up must come down. Splat! Right on his head. Unable to see anything, Splat stumbled around the classroom. Everyone shrieked as the pumpkin head glared at them and made strange noises. Whoa! Whoa! Ah! Ah! It's a monster! Ah! Help me! Mrs. Wimpy Dimple turned on the lights and lifted up the wayward jack-o'-lantern. The shrieking turned into laughter as Splat fell out. Calm down now, hushed Mrs. Wimpy Dimple. Now, class, who should win the prize for being the scariest cat this year? Splat, they all cheered. And he got his prize, the scariest cat. So he didn't really mean to be the scariest cat, but when he got scared, the jack-o'-lantern went flying in the air and landed on his head. And it made him scare everybody. Sort of like when I came on with my jack-o'-lantern on my head. Oh, I'm Splat the cat. I'm Mr. D, the scary teacher. So that's one of my favorite Halloween stories. It's not I don't like it as much as the Jerry Seinfeld one, but you kids probably like that one a little bit better. So I hope you enjoyed it and enjoyed listening to this story. So there'll be another activity today. I'm going to teach you later how to make a jack-o'-lantern like paper lantern that you can hang up at home. So look for that video on Seesaw, and I hope you enjoyed our Splat the Cat Halloween story. And happy Halloween, kindergarten.